MicroStrategy stock, which holds $60 billion worth of Bitcoin, will be removed from MSCI, one of the world's largest indices. It could be removed on October 10th. Because of this news, we experienced massive volatility. There was a $20 billion loss in the crypto sector, and some coins had dropped by nearly 90%. But now, this risk is over. On the other hand, when we look at silver, we see a silver chart that has been rising for exactly 200 years. And in recent days, it's been breaking record after record. Suddenly, it drops by 10% and everyone says the rally is over. Then it hits a new all-time high. So what's happening with silver? What's the impact of MSCI removing it from this index on crypto? Will we profit? We'll discuss these things. Let's get to our video. Friends, what you see in my hand right now is a 100-gram bar of pure silver, a silver bullion bar. On September 12th, 2022, I bought it with my credit card from an online shopping site. At that time, its value was $82. The same product is still for sale now, and its current value is $375. Silver has really experienced a rally. Friends, silver alone has shown the performance we expect from altcoins. So silver is putting on a show, and while silver is putting on a show, everyone is talking about silver. We see Google metrics, YouTube metrics from people. How can we buy silver? How can we open a silver account at a bank, physical or online? Here's what I see. While everyone is talking about silver, my eyes, friends, are searching for Bitcoin. We should be looking for Bitcoin. In other words, instead of going where everyone else is running, we actually need to focus on what is feared and what we think is cheap. But still, in this video, we'll be looking more at silver. We'll be talking about silver. Friends, this is the silver chart you see here, and we have a resistance level at $84. The first support is in the $70.80 to $70.70 region, friends. We have our region, and as we can see, yes, it really increases step by step. Right now, it's $77.70 for 10 ounces of silver. This is actually its paper price. In a moment, I'll explain what I mean by this. Because sometimes the paper price and the physical silver price you pay when you actually go to buy silver are not the same. We're going through such times right now. So why have metals with limited supply been constantly rising lately? It's not just silver. Gold, copper, tin, and platinum have all risen significantly as well. So why are they putting on this show? This is a bit more about the whole unlimited money story in the world. It's part of the whole thing. It's because of geopolitical balances, friends. That's why metals with limited supply are rising. Now, metals with limited supply is a charismatic phrase. For example, there was a time when we used to hear a lot about something. Rare earth elements. Actually, the reason for this, for example, the reason why rare earth elements are considered rare, it's not like we scanned 100,000 square kilometers and found them only in a certain place. These are actually products found in many places. Elements found in many places. Where does the word rare come from? For example, in thousands of liters of soil or, in tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of liters of soil, you might only get 1 gram, so it's very rare within the soil. Extracting it is a very difficult process. So what does the whole world do because of this? Both for these rare earth elements and for silver or, They extract the ores for tin, gold, copper, and zinc, load them onto ships, and send them to China. What does China do? They refine these materials. Then they say, here you go, my friend. This much of the silver, this much gold, this much money, or 10% of these are mine, the rest is yours. They process these materials through agreements like those you mentioned. For years, processing materials has always fallen to China. China has developed itself very well in this area. The costs are very low, and doing this is something that heavily pollutes the environment. Since Europe is very sensitive about this, and so is the West, these operations have now all ended up under China's control. And today, friends, almost all of the silver, 70 to 80% of the world's refined silver production is in China's hands. We're talking about a very significant proportion. Silver, friends, is not produced on its own. In other words, we don't actually extract pure silver from a mine. As I mentioned earlier, silver is actually found together with various other metals. Lead, copper, gold, zinc, and silver are found in the same deposits. They exist together, separated through refining. We send it to China, and China separates them. China produces 80%, right? What if China says, hey, silver's barely enough for me, I won't send you more? What then? It would probably look something like what you see on the screen, friends. The price would suddenly jump from $25 to $85, because in reality, China can't even produce enough silver for itself right now. For example, we use gold as a store of value. Silver is also partly a store of value, but in addition to that, it's a product that's used a lot. Electric cars, solar panels, electronic boards, and most of these are produced by China again. And when we look at the reports about this, since 2022 or even since 2021, for the last 5 or 6 years, there has been more demand for silver in the world than supply can meet. Why? There is a crazy artificial intelligence war going on, my friends, between the East and the West, between China and the USA. Honestly, I don't think artificial intelligence is a bubble either. Maybe within the next 5 or 10 years, all jobs will be done by artificial intelligence and humanoid robots. That's what I think. This video you're watching right now and the one you just watched won't be made by me but by an AI. It will do it 20 times better than I can. But what is needed for this? Once again, what is needed is silver. When we look at it, silver has really surged sharply. And after these sharp rises in the past, it has also experienced very steep drops. 1980, 2011. And now analysts are asking this question. Could we see another sharp drop in silver in 2026? So why can silver drop so sharply? We'll look at that too. Now, as I just mentioned, the contract, in other words, the price of silver on paper is not the same as the price of physical silver from the mine because it takes time for the contract to be converted into physical silver. Eventually, they have to match each other. But right now, this is what we're seeing. Physical silver is expensive. Contracts are cheap because supply can't keep up. Maybe you've seen it. A few weeks ago, exchanges increased the margin required to hold certain silver contracts. This means the following for those holding leveraged long positions in silver. You wake up one morning and suddenly you need to have cash in your accounts. So you'll either deposit additional margin or your broker will close your position by selling it at whatever price is available in the market at that moment. There's no negotiation, no time, and this happens instantly, so we can suddenly see sharp pullbacks. This is what we call a margin squeeze, friends. Now let's look at leverage and margin mechanics. In other words, the real trigger. A silver futures contract represents thousands of ounces of silver, but you don't pay the full amount up front to buy this silver. You only deposit a small portion of the total value, which is the margin. What the exchange is saying here is this: show me that you can withstand this volatility. However, the moment the exchange raises the margin requirement, all accounts are rechecked. If your account balance doesn't comply with the new rule, a margin call is triggered. If you can't respond to this call quickly, your broker won't wait and will close your position, automatically, ruthlessly, and instantly. Now imagine this happening to thousands of traders at the same time. A healthy price formation cannot occur. The stampede happens. These sales, in other words, are not because someone changed their mind and thinks silver won't rise, but rather sales that are forced, my friends. So everything up to this point is all well and good. But if there's demand for silver, why can't supply keep up? Normally, think of it this way. You have an egg farm, you have chickens, and everyone wants to buy eggs. You can't keep up with this demand. If I could produce more, I could sell the eggs and make a profit. Do you know why they can't do this with silver? Because, as I mentioned earlier, you can't extract silver on its own. It has a lot of bi-elements, bi-metals. That's why, even if the price suddenly rises, it takes time for the supply to balance it out. Friends, so with these price movements, should you rush out and buy silver? No, I don't think you should, but here's what you can do, friends. Of course, nothing explained in this video is investment advice, but our people really love this. You know, quarter gold coins. We save them month by month or every 2 months. Or week by week, depending on your means. So, for example, if I bought a quarter gold coin this month, next month I could buy and save the equivalent amount of silver in grams from the bank. This is possible, but right now we are at very high peak levels in the short term. It could go even higher from here, but for the next 3 to 5 years, we might also be on the losing side. It's very hard to predict this. That's why we can accumulate gradually, as if we are saving up. Look, even Elon says that silver is this much. Its rise is very bad because we need a lot of silver for industry. By the way, more than silver, what I really need right now is your likes and subscriptions to my channel. What can I say? May those who like the video find silver. Joking aside, don't hold back your support with likes, friends. So you know how we say things like this? Like, so-and-so turned out to be gold. You know, there was that video of an old man saying, it turned out to be a violet. Like, so-and-so turned out to be gold. Is silver gold and is Bitcoin copper? Friends? Now, this chart you see here shows Bitcoin's performance against silver in the long term. In the long term, it's in an upward trend, meaning Bitcoin is a more successful investment compared to silver for the long term. But recently, it has experienced a very serious decline, as you can see here as well. And right here, there is a very significant trend that has been continuing for many years, friends. We're currently in 2017 to 2018, 2020 to 2023, to 2024 to 2025 to 2026. It tried to break this trend a few times. It's a trend I've been following, but it hasn't broken. If it bounces back from here, this is what we're saying. Yes, Bitcoin might put on a bit of a show. There are also some good developments for Bitcoin in 2026. In the upcoming videos, we'll focus a bit more on Bitcoin. But I hope we've managed to discuss silver thoroughly today. You must have understood what's going on behind the price mechanics of silver. See you in the next video. Goodbye.